Today's lesson is on SOL 6.6a and b, which is what dealt with our circle. And for circles, we learned about two things. We learned about circumference and area. And if you remember, circumference is the distance around a circle. It's a lot like perimeter. Perimeter is what we use it for other shapes. Circumference is what we call when we have a circle. And circumference would be like if you rode a Ferris wheel. Since you're going around the outside of the Ferris wheel, it would be the circumference that you've traveled. That when you put a tire on a rim of a car, the tire is around the circumference of the rim. So circumference is the distance around, whereas area is the amount of space in a circle. Inside a circle. Well, really it's the amount of space inside any shape, but the one we're looking at right now is a circle. And there's two parts of the circle we need to make sure that we remember what they are. The D, remember, is the whole way across, and it is diameter. And R stands for radius, and it's halfway across the circle. So diameter and radius. And both of these are equally important because they're used in our formulas. Now, if you remember for circumference formula, you're giving two formulas. One has the R for radius, and one has the D for diameter. So you simply read your problem to see which one do I need, and you choose the correct formula. Now with area, I want to remind you that we have our R radius, which means that if you're given a problem with diameter, you have to divide it by 2 to make a radius. So you have to be careful. Some other things I just want to remind you, if you remember that the pi can mean multiple things. It can be 3.14. So that's one thing we need to know. Pi can also be 22 divided by 7. And those are both listed on your actual formula sheet. But the third one is not. Pi can also be circumference divided by diameter. For any circle, if you take its circumference and divide it by diameter, you should get 3.14. So we need to know these three abbreviations for pi. And just a reminder, when you do this little squared in the calculator, then you need to put the little, you're going to use the XY button. I'm sorry, the X squared button. So I know there's 4 problems on this side, and then of course you have the back side, but I want to do number 3 together. I want to look at number 3. So number 3 said a circular sign has a diameter of 28 inches. To the nearest tenth, what is the area of the sign? So what we need to do, we know it asks for area, and it's a circle. So the very first thing on your SOL and on all these practice problems is we need to write down our formula. Area equals pi r squared. And that's nothing new. That was my expectations for you the entire time, that you write down your formula. And then we do our substitutions. So in place of the pi, I'm going to put 3.14. Remember, if they're next to each other, it means to multiply. Now here's where you have to be careful. Think about what R stands for. R stands for radius. Well, if you look over here, we don't have the radius, we have the diameter. So what did it say we have to do? If you have a diameter, you must divide it by 2 to make a radius. So I'm literally going to take 28 and divide it by 2. And that lets me know that my radius is 14. So when I go over here to plug in and substitute, I'm going to put 14 squared. And I'm going to make sure I have that squared with my radius. So now I'm ready to type my numbers actually in the calculator. 3.14 times 14, and I'm going to hit that X2 button, squared, equals. And I got an answer of 615 and 4,400. So I look over here, 615.4. So my answer for number 3 should be B. At this point, you may go ahead and continue the rest on your own.